This is 2 Minutes About Time with Luke Allen and Robert E.G. Black, the podcast that takes a look at the film About Time 2 minutes at a time. I am Richard Curtis, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, you can just travel back in time 2 minutes and listen to something else.
I'm one of your hosts, Luke Allen. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Robert E.G. Black.
Hello.
And with a whole blend of guests from the history of this show. I am joined with, in alphabetical order, Helen Austin.
Hello. As I said, my name's Helen Austin. I worked with Luke on Unstable. I'm an actress, and I'm happy to be here.
Curtis Bloes.
Hey everybody, I'm Curtis Bloes. I do a podcast called The What I Wish I Didn't Know Show, and I'm a photographer, and I'm just thrilled to come back to do another episode of this show with you, Luke and Robert.
Johann Joseph.
Hello everyone. I did work on the Independence Day Minute, the Starship Troopers Minute, and I was previously on this podcast with the infamous Oral Sex Minute.
Oh, yeah. Bryon Lockhart.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Bryon with the Marine Corps Movie Minute podcast, where we're doing Heartbreak Ridge right now with Clint Eastwood. And just like everybody else, I'm happy to be back.
And Bryon, we did try to get Graham Curry on for this episode, but he unfortunately says he does quizzes on Wednesdays. But he wished us luck with the show. Had a nice chat with him. None of you will know who Graham Curry is, but you're in for an interesting episode when we get to the one that's dedicated to Graham Curry. I mean, Robert, do we say, or do we just leave it like that?
No, that's good.
Okay, and Reece Ord.
Hi, I'm Reece Ord. Welcome to my TED Talk. Yeah, I'm a student filmmaker, media maker, and yeah, that's me.
And Katie Proctor.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm an actress and also a poet, and like the others, I'm just really happy to be back.
So, the idea for this episode, however well it will end up working out, I don't know. I'm terrified, to be honest, but this could be fun. I don't think this has been done in Movie by Minute history. Have any of you Movie by Minute people done this before, or is this a fresh idea?
This one's pretty new for me.
I've been on lots of shows where people didn't know what they were going to talk about beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's definitely a thing.
So, I will randomise a number using just the Google number randomizer between 1 and 119. It could be any minute from the film. Some of the guests who've been on may have discussed this minute before. They may not have discussed this minute. And it's just time to find out what it is. Right, so the number for now is number 69. And I will send minute 69 into the chat, and then we will close off this call for I'll give 2-3 minutes, and then pop back in to talk about it with no prep whatsoever. Now, here's to hoping that 69 is actually saved on my computer.
I just put a link to it in the chat.
Ah, that works too. Okay, I've found the page in the script as well. Okay, so I guess the good thing would be to start with Helen, because you haven't seen the film yet. So
Damn it, Luke!
Still.
Got dropped in that.
But I mean, if you end up joining us for the commentary, which will be Friday's episode, but next week we're recording, then you will have seen the film at some point in that way.
Yes.
But yeah, so from this, no context whatsoever, I feel like from the minutes we've given you, Helen, you think this film seems a lot more sex-based than it actually is.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to end up seeing those puppies or not.
But yeah, so what were your overall thoughts and opinions and brief analysis of this?
I thought it made the film look quite funny from that scene. Yeah, you're right, it definitely seems more sexual than, I'm guessing, most of the other minutes. All of the different scenes you've seen me.
Your episode involves Tim nearly sleeping with Charlotte, so you're really not getting the best view of this film.
Yeah. Yeah. I think every scene he's been in that I've seen, he's been with a different woman. Which, from what I've heard, is not the way the film goes at all. Yeah. I thought it seemed quite funny. Does he ever pick a best man? I don't know.
So I mean, Robert, do you think we try and go round alphabetically again, or what, or do we just all talk?
I don't think we need to force everyone to talk about everything.
No. So I mean, we've both talked about this. I remember when it came up. I can at some point give what it says in the script. I don't know. Should we try that now and then have the conversations from here?
Yeah, you look at your.
Yeah,
script. We'll talk around you.
Let's do a thing where we hear a summary, and maybe you go through the script, and then we're able to give our thoughts more in depth.
Yes, of course. The listeners don't. I need to edit this around. The listeners don't know what minute 69 was. We didn't say. So minute 69.
No, the listeners have to guess.
They have to go back and listen to the episode where we discussed minute 69 first. So minute 69 involves Mary undressing for Tim to help him make the decision as to who the best man is. So from the original script, Mary says, everything. The only thing that you've decided about the wedding is that I'll come down the aisle to the sound of an Italian weirdo singing a song called Il Mondo. Tim says, excellent. To which I've said a definitive no. So here's the deal. I'll take off one item of clothing for every decision you make. This is a one-off offer, striptease in your own living room by a woman you think, by your own admission, is pretty. Obviously the lines are slightly different in the script, and that's what we'll realise here. And Tim says, okay, you have my full attention, young lady. Mary says, right, good. Where do you think we should get married? Home. I'd hate anywhere else. She takes off her t-shirt and is wearing a bra underneath. Mary says, good. Who should the priest be? Tim says, the local bloke with the yellow teeth and the massive unibrow. She says, okay, that's a lock for Hagrid. And she takes off her baggy sweatpants. She has no socks. She's just standing there in bra and pants. Mary says, right, I should have thought this through first. Tim says, yes. Mary, I should have worn more clothes. Yes. So I'd better pick two really important questions. Best man. Tim says, damn, I really wanted to see those breasts, but... Best man. Now. This is so hard. It's loss. You piss off all the ones you don't pick, and you end up hating the one you do pick because he makes a bad speech and ruins the day. She says, do you want to see these puppies or not? And actually, in the original script, Tim says, Harry? which is Jay in the original one. And actually, what we... No, never mind, it is... So I'll carry on to the end of this page. Mary says, the breasts are the border from which no decision can ever return. Harry, really? And she reaches on her back for her bra strap. Tim says, no, bad idea, he'll get drunk. Jay? Your choice? He's my best friend, but he's a moron. He will F up everything, yes. Censored it a little bit there. Tim says, Rory, he's boring, but he'll try so hard. Sure? Yes, definitely, Rory. No, Harry. It's Harry. And that is where that ends in the script. Went a little over. What does everyone think of this minute, and any analysis as to anything really?
Analyzing movies 1 minute at a time has made me pay attention to movies more closely than I ever have in my life. And I noticed that before she suggested that she was going to take off all of her clothes or one piece of clothing per answer, she was already preparing the room by closing the windows, which I thought was a nice touch.
Well, I like that she thought that part through, but not thought it through enough to wear extra clothing in the like mentioned in the script. Which actually, I understand why they cut some of that dialogue for the actual movie, but that would have been a neat little, like back and forth with them.
It's possibly a little too clunky for the scene, because what we notice, especially doing it minute by minute, is most scenes in About Time seem to actually take place over a minute or two. It's perfect for this show because it's so fast paced that little exchanges like that need to be so significant. And whilst that is significant, I believe from the script, when he goes to the wedding, and you've got the one best man, you actually see him go back in time and re-ask Mary each time. So that would have felt a bit repetitive. Whereas in the actual film, when he's at the wedding, and he changes who the best man is, you just hear the noise of the time travel, and bam, it's the next best man. So I think it works. It works really well there. But
Wait.
yeah, it's.
So he goes back in time every time just to see her undress? It's actually not too horrible. Like, he just shoots the answers out because he knows he'll get her undressed.
Every time it's faster.
Yeah.
He's just like, home, local bloke.
Yeah.
What's the fourth question?
Is this the first time that she undresses for him ever? No, that can't be right?
No, they have sex
Okay.
The first night she meets him.
The first time they meet the third time.
Yeah, the first time they meet the third time. Yeah, it's quite a...
or the third time they meet the first time, I guess.
Yes, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'm just wondering all the more ways we can confuse Helen. It's really interesting. But I think it will be really helpful, even if you... I mean, hopefully you manage to see the film before the commentary, if you are able to join us for the commentary. If not, then the commentary would be a very interesting way to first discover the film. But I'd feel bad about taking away that first viewing from people, because, as you probably all know, it's quite a film to watch properly. I hope.
I would be super interested to know what you think is going on here, Helen.
I think we had this, so when I first did my episodes, I was sat with Luke and Robert. Well, I watched them beforehand, and what I thought was happening was not at all what was happening in the film. I could tell that maybe it was time travel, but I didn't know it was time travel. I just thought he was like thinking through. He was in a theatre, and it kept going back in time, and he kept changing his answers to things.
Which works with Robert's theory that maybe there isn't actually any time travel in the film, and it's all just a story technique to help him process things.
It kind of came across like he was thinking through what he wanted to say, and then kept thinking of how the other person would respond, and went, no, that's not a good thing to say, and then changed his mind, and then changed his mind again. And then you were like, by the way, it's about time travel. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
You see a whole different side to it.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies, where they would show it all play out, and then you go back and see what really happened. So.
I was thinking maybe Robert's idea was that this was instead of a time travel movie, it was like Next. Who is that? The film where what's that crazy guy? Nicolas Cage can go forward in time like 2 minutes to see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I forgot
because the stuff he does, the power he has in that movie is a lot like what she's describing from the theater scene.
Oh, well, I think we just got a fan theory going here where Nick Cage and now I'm blanking on names, but basically they're related. Nick Cage is like a cousin.
That would really explain the portrait.
Yeah.
There's a painting which the set decorator has told us isn't Nick Cage. There's a painting that looks an awful lot like Nick Cage in the family home.
I'm telling you, there you go. That's proof right there.
So Nicolas Cage was
I need
in
to
the
watch
Lake
this
family.
movie because I did actually have a theory earlier about because the episodes that came out today at the time of listening, obviously this was months ago, but the episode that came out today as of recording is the one for the proposal scene, and we talked in that about how Tim had to wait until Mary was awake, and for someone who can flash forwards and backwards in time so often, for him to actually just have to wait because he's in the present wouldn't work. And so I suddenly thought, what if Tim just always lived in yesterday? Like he always just lived one day behind, so if he needs to go ahead, it's in his past still. Could that work?
Your wording is so confusing, but I think I know what you mean.
I actually don't think that would be possible because the dad wouldn't be able to know when the last day he was going to spend with him would be. Sorry, Helen.
I can't come onto a show called
Oh,
2
man.
Minutes About Time and not hear spoilers. That's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, Eddie, who we had on, it's weird talking about this in past tense when the episodes haven't come out. Eddie, who we had on, only watched the film the day before he went on and listened to all like half of the released episodes of the show first, so he knew the content of the film and still
Without
enjoyed
watching
it. And actually, he's still listening to the show, which is great. It's
Okay,
actually
he's
good.
showing me up. Okay.
We
I'm
just
not
have
even
to have
sure
that
if-
perfect balance of one that's.
I'm not
really,
even sure if
really-
there. I'm not even sure if there were episodes of the show out when we recorded with you, Helen. Like it's. I'm not sure.
There was like 1 or 2 that were out, and I got like a small glimpse into what was happening.
We don't really know what we're doing in the early episode. We don't even know what we're doing now. I think we've realised that.
No, we got nothing.
I remember filming it the first episodes. It was chaos.
Yeah, Katie's been here for the evolution. She was there.
Yeah,
Right
I was
in
the first guest.
Yeah, your confidence has like changed massively, like just the tone of it all. So I started listening to it a couple of weeks ago, and from the first episode to like the most recent, Luke, I don't know how to explain it really. You've been
Blossom.
able to blossom.
I feel like
You've-
Robert already knew what he was doing because you've done this how many times? But
Too many.
You're put underneath Robert's wing. It's your mentor.
yeah, Robert guided me through the world of Movie by Minutes, and now finally I can spread
Now
my
he's
wings and host my Les Mis podcast.
Yes.
I'm so in for that.
Yeah.
Anyone who
I have
wants
seen
to,
that
we'll book you all in for whenever on earth we record that. But that will happen at some point. Also, in the lines of Richard Curtis is I'm just plugging my shows now. Is Love Actually over Christmas? We're going to break up Love Actually into the days in December in which it takes place and release an episode on that. But hopefully,
I've seen all of these ones.
So, have we got any other comments? Are we ready to randomize?
I got.
Well, I would kind of
Sorry.
like to.
Go ahead.
I'd like to know what other questions. Like how it would take 2 more questions to get her all the way
No,
down.
just one more.
Is that accurate?
Because she doesn't have socks on.
Oh, just one more question. How insignificant of a decision could he have made and still had that count? It doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
the
she had
last
any
question
rules.
is what flavor cake? Something simple.
That's a very
It
important
could be, I
decision.
guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably the most important. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Forget the best man.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Need to know
the
what cake
congregation remember the cake more than they remember who the best man was.
Yeah, well, because I'm not sure if anybody else has had to plan a wedding, but this third question of who should be the best man, even if there's boobs on the line, is very critical and very hard to think of. And I could totally understand his point of view where he just gets stumped. Like you can't just spit out a name and be like, yeah, that's a good enough name. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
wait, oh,
If you could spit one out that easily, you'd already know. Because
yes,
you'd have that friend that's obviously the best man.
yeah.
Or if you
Yeah,
have the
you've
power
already
of
had the
time
friend
travel,
that-
you just go back.
Which,
Yeah.
which I didn't have that power, but hence divorce. But
Whoa.
but the thing is, though, what he said is right. That the person I chose at the time gave a horrible speech, and it's,
I mean, we see Jay's speech later on, and it is a horrible speech.
yes.
But I mean, have we got any other comments before we randomize to our next minute? And if it ends up being the sex scene, then Helen's a bad luck charm.
Well,
Oh,
I was gonna say the fact that there was a striptease on minute 69.
oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
relatively
someone had
appropriate.
to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It may.
And
Yeah. What
yeah,
if they were cutting down words in the script just to get this to happen? Like, properly?
that's why they cut it
I
out.
feel
The
like to
editor
keep,
is like,
to
I
keep
gotta
this
put that in this minute.
Yeah.
to keep this
There
on
was
keep this on the family-friendly tone, we won't explain why that's funny. They either know or they don't.
Well, you know, they knew somebody was going to break it down minute by minute, so they did it for that
So,
purposes.
kids listening, here's what this means.
There was a
should be
minute-long
good.
conversation of how they explain like everything that would help, and they're like, "No, we gotta get rid of that. This part got
Yeah.
landed 69."
Well, I was going to make one comment about the whole striptease time travel thing. So this scene reminds me of Billy Madison when his girlfriend was was trying to teach Adam Sandler, and for every question he got right, she would remove a bit of clothing. Mm-hmm. The gag in that is they cut back later when he's really acing it, and it's Chris Farley, and he's like, "That is correct," and he starts taking his shirt off. I would have liked to see Tim go back like we suggested over and over again to keep seeing this with the better answers, but he screwed something up, and there's Chris Farley instead of his wife.
Or it's his uncle.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Uncle Desmond taking off his suit.
Go back.
I feel like if Uncle Desmond took off his tie, it would feel too uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's got the layers for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I liked Uncle D. He's awesome.
Okay, so we'll randomly select the next minute. Robert, I was thinking since we sometimes have a bonus minute, we could probably do 3 of these, right?
Sure.
Or however long,
Yeah.
if it's fun. I don't know. we can keep going forever. We'll see.
We don't want too long an episode.
Yeah.
36. I'm now scared because that could be the sex scene. 36.
No,
Robert.
36 is the museum.
Oh,
okay.
phew. Oh, so just the topless picture of Kate Moss instead.
Yes. Yes.
First R-rated.
You're not making your case very well.
An image to this film, I'll tell you that.
Weirdly, I was reading on the website Common Sense Media, which is like age ratings for kids or whatever. They recommended that you're 16 before you watch this film. That's just no, like it's not that bad.
It really isn't.
I mean, I think I probably watched it when I was I watched it when I would have been 14. I showed it to my sister when she was like 11. It's fine. Anyway, we'll drop out and watch this minute and come back in shortly. I'm just getting the page and the script now.
Now we know, when we're looking at the script, we know that this minute was deliberately put in front of the topless photo. Because the set, Steve told us that.
Yes, because
right
we
now,
asked...
What's his name? Steve's the other guy.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Steve's location, JP.
I'm wondering
JP
if in the script
that
it specifies where they are.
So, I mean, at first we'll explain. I think we said what it was, but just in case we didn't, this minute 36. Once again, one that you guys haven't been on for. This was Alex who was on this week, and it involves Tim meeting Mary for the second time, yet Mary meeting Tim for the first time. So Mary says. Oh, it is Tim who opens, right? I'm on the wrong page. Hi. Mary says hello. Tim's, how are you? I'm fine. Great. It says pregnant pause. We never met before, says Mary. He says, oh no, then a word we don't repeat on this show, followed by, of course we haven't. She says, you must have mistaken me for someone else. He says, yes. No, your name's Mary. She says, that's distinctly weird. How do you know? He said, you look like a Mary? Kit Kat observing this skeptically. Mary says, in what way? Tim, well, my mum's called Mary. He isn't doing well, and knows it. And I look like your mother? How far do we go? You can tell me when we stop, because I don't actually remember this ends.
He gets a total stranger.
Okay. Not at all. Much prettier. Nice fringe, by the way. She says, right, it's new. Well, great meeting you. Sorry, I've got to go. My friend's waiting for me, and you're a total stranger. And Tim says, yes, absolutely crazy stuff. So she doesn't actually repeat total stranger in the script. But other than that, I think it's pretty much the same wording. So once again, Helen, I'll pop to you as the person who hasn't seen this before.
Well, 1 minute she's getting her puppies out for him, and then the next minute she's not even met him, so... That's an interesting view to have of the film before seeing it.
Yeah.
I think if I hadn't known it was about time travel, I would in this scene.
Yeah.
Definitely. You do almost feel sorry for him, like, oh, you've messed up. Are you gonna be able to fix this? Because you've already rewritten history, I guess. You've already rewritten it so that you haven't met yet. Are you gonna be able to fix this? Which I'm sure you all know he does, I guess.
Yeah, the rest of the film isn't just him like crying in a dark room.
Mistakes.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good minute, as we discussed quite in detail on the show, as to why on earth they decided to do it in front. I mean, you didn't see the end of the other minute, but this is the only moment of nudity in the film, is the picture of Kate Moss in the background. And it's like, why? Because that's one of the main reasons it's an R in the States. It's a 12A here, and it got an R in the States for language and nudity. So that's just strange, and JP told us that was deliberate. But I can't remember why. It just seemed...
Well, probably, I'm not saying probably, maybe it was like Super 8, and it was just some production value that they could add. This thing happened to be showing at the museum.
Well, they
have
recreated this exhibit, so they have they have a bunch of Kate Moss photos on the walls. So there is that.
Oh, this was a recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real exhibit
I did
had
not
closed,
know that.
and so
Okay.
they borrowed this stuff.
But a lot
Yeah,
of
I guess, okay.
even that photo of her, that is kind of a famous one of her. So I mean,
it makes sense that it would be there. It's just very strange that...
here's the weird thing about it, is because that photo would be considered art in such a way, because of the way, because of its iconicness. But you can put this scene on YouTube because it's considered art and it becomes uncensored. That's why it makes it weird that the R rating comes in for nudity.
I mean, considering back in the 80s you would get, what was Clash of the Titans?
Yeah.
They had a lot of nudity in it, and that was a PG
there was-
movie.
There was boobs all over G movies back in the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah, as we've discussed previously on our show, that like Smokey and the Bandit 3 had a lot of nudity, and it was a PG movie, and we're like, why? It's Smokey and the Bandit. It doesn't need it.
And weirdly, that was released as an 18 in the UK, which I haven't seen any of Smoking the Bandits, but I researched that. That was an 18 when it was a PG. Yeah, so at least it's a role reversal here. I mean, we've obsessed. I think all of you have been on episodes where I've obsessed about age ratings, so you know my fascination about the age rating system. But I mean, the whole exchange we get here is brilliant and one of the most iconic moments in the film, I think. So yeah, I mean, what have any of the rest of you got to say about the dialogue?
His realization when he realized that he messed up and that they haven't met, and that little F-bomb he drops, even though it's, that's one of the things that got it an R, it was so perfectly timed in the way he delivered it, just like, oh man, I really messed up. And it's, to me, it's also funny.
Yeah, all the uses of bad language in the film are really good. Like, I'm not an advocate for filling films with bad language. I mean, I know we had a little bit in Unstable and stuff, but like, I didn't watch it and think, oh, it's full with swears or whatever. I watched it and thought every single one of them was either funny or emotional. Most of the time funny. There is one moment, which those of you who've seen it and remember, Lindsay Duncan as the mother delivers it, and it almost brings me to tears when she says it. So it's... Every use of bad language in this film is beautiful.
I think it's because it's well placed instead of everywhere.
It's a lot more frequent in the script.
Yeah.
And in this minute in particular, that is very realistic. As how somebody, when they dawns on them just how bad they messed up, how they might just say that to themselves the way Tim does, and it works.
Yeah, because if you're meeting somebody new, you're not dropping a bunch of F-bombs. But then when you realize you screwed up like he did, you're going to drop it because you really messed up. So.
Oh, and that's something I was going to say, too, as, we know that he's saying it because he messed up, but to her, it doesn't come off as vulgar, because probably the character can also sense that there's something more going on with him, and maybe even that use kind of kept her curious enough to stay in the conversation for longer.
Yeah, that actually makes me wonder, like, does she have some sort of feeling because this has happened before. It's almost like it's fate, but it's just happening differently now. So yeah, because I mean, if this was just me walking up to a random cute girl and I acted like this, man, cops are getting called.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's kind of a creep. When she says total stranger, it's funny she doesn't say total creep. But it is almost like, well, he's not aggressive. He's just, you could tell almost he's shy, and again he's awkward. He's like that cute awkward, I guess, maybe is what. But also that's where I was wondering, like, because they've already met, because they've already had a connection, is there still a connection there, even though he messed up his history? Is there still something in the universe that's kind of fated them to? He's still got to put the effort in, and he's still got to make it work, and he can ruin it. But is that what kept her there? Yeah, as somebody stated.
According to that minute that we discussed, I think off the air, that did not make it into the movie. What are the rules for time travel? Does it pertain to what he just said?
Yeah, I don't think it would be impossible that she could sense something. There's nothing in the rules.
I think that's more of an extra thing.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, how far into Tim finding out that he can time travel is this moment? Where does it stand in the timeline?
This is 2007. This is June. The movie starts New Year's of 2004 to 2005. So a couple years.
So it's weird that it's taken this long for Tim to talk to someone who he hasn't met yet.
Yeah, it's this long before he screws something up through time travel.
Because you'd feel like he would have figured out how it all works by now.
Or he'd realized this possibility while sitting in the museum for 4 days.
Or could he have possibly been using his time travel to, I don't know, like fix his homework that he didn't realize, like a real life implication of working with someone. Yeah, like he's actually talking to someone about this. It makes it different.
He doesn't really find out how the time travel, learn how to use the time travel properly, really, until his dad dies. Really,
yeah, so much later.
Yeah, because that's when he finds.
Yeah, spoilers,
out
Helen.
I thought that had already been brought up. Sorry,
I think it had slightly. It's in the trailer. In all fairness.
So that's when he really learns how to use the time travel in that, isn't it?
Because
he doesn't know how bad it could be until Boy Posey shows up.
Yeah. Because I think near the end, he's actually time traveling to pinpoint moments versus this one. He just tried to go to a spot without having to overwrite one a certain day. Like there's more of a buffer between something he did versus this day than near the end of the movie.
Well, that brings up something I don't think we ever talked about in the show, because the first time he time travels in the cupboard to being in the cupboard.
Yeah.
When in the past, he shouldn't have been in the cupboard.
I think we touched on this.
Somehow
slightly.
his past self has to have a weird random urge to get inside a cupboard so that he can replace him.
Yeah, I think I only just edited an episode where you mentioned that first. And that was like the penultimate episode or something. So it was. It's something I have wondered. Like, does Tim just vanish, or does he actually just go, I'm just going to go upstairs and walk into a cupboard?
Yeah, at a certain point, does he just make sure he's in the dark at least like every hour on the hour, just in case for later?
Well, because that also means that he'll know that he's got to go back in time and fix something.
Well, if, like Bryon was saying, if she has some connection beyond the flow of time to him, and that's why she stands here long enough, rather than being creeped out, maybe his past self knows something's about to happen, and suddenly he wants to be in the dark.
Well, he obviously went and hid in the cupboard after he didn't kiss that girl.
Yeah.
Like, he was like,
he went for a good cry.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that explains it. Just after he makes embarrassing mistakes, he's just like,
That's how awkward he is every time he's embarrassed, he hides in a cupboard. Anyway.
But mind you, he'd have to have hidden in the cupboard before, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because he kisses her at midnight.
But okay.
Well, that could be something Dad could be teaching him as a child, so that it would just come naturally to him without explaining the rest to him. Like every time
his father
you do
punished
something
him.
embarrassing, I want you to go to a cupboard. Right. I'll tell you when you're 18.
He was trying to find Narnia in there, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Weirdly, Narnia is what my family are watching downstairs right now. So same universe.
Well, I've traveled back in time, so I already knew that. That's why I had that reference.
See, here's the question that I have, because when the New Year's party, he cannot time travel, but he doesn't get it till later on. So he actually time travels.
He gets it the next morning.
Yeah, so he actually time travels to a point where he actually doesn't have that ability.
Which also happens at the end. No spoilers.
Yes,
we don't
but
know
he's
when
holding hands with his father.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's not. Actually.
Oh.
I just watched the movie again last week, and they are not holding hands, which I was going to talk about that when we did the commentary.
Oh.
But yeah, it's interesting.
that.
So my guess is that he's always had the ability, but his dad chose not to tell him until he was at an age where he was responsible to use it.
I feel like he'd accidentally do it sometime then.
Yeah, I'd like
What,
to
you
see sort of
yeah, I guess
He's
so.
hiding in a
Yeah.
cupboard out of embarrassment. He's like, "Oh, I should have
Yeah.
done that differently," and he just randomly goes.
and he
back in
wishes he were back in time to do it all over again, and boom.
Well, I mean, it could be like, I mean, I'm just currently, as part of my pre-enrollment college stuff, reading the book of Time Traveler's Wife. Like, when, I can't believe I've forgotten the main character's name. I shouldn't have done that. When the guy from Time Traveler's Wife first finds
time
out that
traveler?
he can time travel, when the time traveler first finds out he can time travel, it's when he's a kid, and his parents, like, they don't know at that point. Their parents just say, "Oh, it must have just been a dream you had." Like, that could be how it was for Tim. That it's just, for ages, it's just that. It was just a weird
Well, yeah,
dream he
and
had,
what
a
happens
vivid
to
imagination.
past Tim when he gets replaced? Is he in the back of his head watching everything that happens, being confused?
Just some serious deja vu.
He's
Yeah.
just out. He's out on the beach having fun with Boy Posey.
Because we know they eventually remember stuff, because Kit Kat remembers stuff immediately.
Yeah, she remembers
Right.
both.
Which then Boy Posey is a whole tragedy, because he's got a year of a kid he remembers and it never happened.
Yeah, it's just. I'm just gonna be more and more intrigued as to when Helen first watches this film with just these odd phrases like Boy Posey.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the more the time stream continuum is just completely collapsing on itself, and my head is going to explode.
Yeah.
Well, weirdly, and it's something I've said a few times on this show, which is very odd considering the format of the show and how it works, is that it's not a time travel film when you're supposed to think about it. Like, it's just supposed to be, this is how the rules of time travel work. Just as when Richard Curtis did the film Yesterday last year. The film's called Yesterday and it came out last year. It's not called Yesterday last year. But when
That's a good title.
Yeah, I might write that one down. When last year he made the film Yesterday, it was the same idea. It was, here's a universe where the Beatles don't exist, but one guy knows it. We don't ask why. We just tell a story with it.
Yeah.
And I think so many films can get stuck in the logistics, whereas this just go with it, and it works.
It's the Austin Powers explanation. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Just have fun. Try not to think about it.
Yeah, because if we're trying to think of all the times that he would, in the past, have to go in a cupboard so he can be replaced by his future self, third person, it makes him look like a guy with some really weird social anxiety issues.
We talked with, I can't remember who the guest was, and I think I bleeped the entire thing about what his family might think takes place. Rob, can you remember what guest it was?
No.
But yeah, I think it's one of those strange things. I mean, if we do start thinking about the rules of time travel, the emotional end scene falls to pieces in your hands. But I mean, have we got any other comments about the scene that we've hardly talked about? Because that's how this show works.
I wonder how many times it's like messed up with the timelines. So like when talking to Mary, you know how like he thought it said like hi as if they'd met before. I wonder if he gets mixed up as in like if my brain's not working. Like they're talking to
I
their
think
kids.
at this point,
and
not
like,
many, but later there could be indication that he's done things
Yeah, do you know
more
what I
times
mean?
than we've seen.
Or like, I mean, like when he's talking to his kids about how him and Mary met, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we met at like a dark restaurant." Or
Yeah, I
something.
really wanted
Do you
this.
think
I really wanted something like this. Yeah.
And she's like, "Sorry, what?"
That's what the movie is he's telling the story, and he's like, "Yeah, your mother and I, we met at this restaurant." Like, she said you met at a museum.
Does she ever find
She
out?
said you met at a party.
No, she doesn't ever find out.
Spoilers?
Does she never
Well,
find
no,
out?
it's
in the
not
film
really a
that
massive spoiler.
No, she doesn't find
She
out.
doesn't find out.
Well, and he's giving us guys a bad name because it sounds like we don't remember, and he's just making up when they first met. But actually, he's correct.
One of his kids like, that's not what I heard. Like,
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
But yeah, so let's randomly generate another minute. I think we might just go on until everyone needs to leave because this is just fun. 4. I think we might be safe from anything inappropriate on number 4.
Yeah. I think so.
I don't know. Give us time. We can think of something.
Yeah.
Once again, none of you guests were on for this. This was me and Robert on our own for minute 4. It's like this Google generator knows.
First podcast, always earlier episodes are on your own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's always safe.
You don't want any guests in on like horrible minutes.
I think what we ended up doing is I think we literally recorded them like 3 days in a row. So me and Robert recorded the first 3 episodes. Then the next day we had Katie on. Then the next day we had Alice on. So we didn't have much time to figure out the show before we had Katie on. So it worked.
We managed.
Well, I listened back to one of the first episodes the other day because weirdly one of my pre-enrollment tasks for college is to describe in detail and analyse the opening 2 minutes of a film.
You're like, boy, do I got a project for you.
I was really annoyed that it had
Just 2?
I know. Well, it was like the first 2 or 3 minutes they said, and I was really annoyed that it couldn't be as audio. Like I had to write it because I thought, could I just not send them the first episode of the podcast and just be like, I got the whole film for you if you want. Like,
Can I point something out?
yeah,
You're probably going to bite my head off for this, right? But in some previous episodes, I think even in the first one that I did, we mentioned how everything Tim does is selfless and it's for someone else. But
yeah.
really, there's only 2 times in the film where he uses the time travel to help someone else, or in a selfless way.
Well,
It's-
there's always some
The fu-
selfishness because he
Yeah.
has to have a reason to do it.
See,
But most
fu-
of it is also involving other people because he helps Kit Kat, he helps Harry. You could make an argument that he's helping Mary since they got along the first time and seemed to like each other.
it's like the only 2 ways that I was thinking of though was when he goes back to help with the play,
Yeah, Harry.
Yes.
erasing like the number from his phone, and when he another spoiler, Helen. Do you want to cover your ears or
La 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 la.
Cover the
Take
headphone and
headphones
close
out.
ears.
Cover the headphones. And when he decides to let his dad go and have the other child, so I guess it's like not time traveling, which is the
Yeah.
selfless bit. Do you know what I mean? I think they're the only 2 parts where it's not for himself.
But even with
whereas-
Harry's play, he could have undone that to go back and make sure he met Mary.
Yeah, that's.
But
that's what I'm
instead, he
saying,
goes
it's
and
like,
he goes and meets Mary this way.
in a weirder way.
Yeah.
In a more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's one of the selfless times he uses it. I think. I don't know. I think all the other times it's some way.
Well, the first few
For
times
him.
are definitely selfish.
Do you know what I
You know,
mean?
he goes back to kiss Polly. He goes back to not spill the suntan lotion.
Yeah.
He goes back to ask out
Try and get
Charlotte.
Goes back to try to hook up earlier with Charlotte.
Yeah.
But then all that goes badly, and so I think the way he's narrating it is he doesn't really use it for stuff like that anymore. We don't see a lot of it. Clearly he does, because he cheats on his exams. We can assume. That's in the script,
Yeah.
but we can only assume it. But he definitely cheats on his court cases.
But I mean, yeah, like I say, in the script it is confirmed that Tim, and I'm pretty sure it was filmed because I think there's someone who's credited on the IMDb as being an exam student. That Tim goes back in time and like in his exam for law school goes back in time to his room and reads the textbook first, and then so yeah, I mean he does cheat his exams, but yeah, I mean I think it's important that that basically what happens there is what was I saying? Oh yeah, that his dad is the big selfless one with it all, really, because once again, spoilers, but still, I think you'll still enjoy the film either way. Helen, whether you know this or not, but his dad says that he decided to give up work at 50 or whatever to play more table tennis with his son. Now, the dad has all the time in the world to do what he wants. He did it to make sure that everyone else has more time with him. And so I think the dad is definitely like the main person who uses his time travel well.
Do they know when each other have gone back?
We don't think
Do you know what I
so,
mean?
but
No, there's a couple moments where it looks like the dad figures it when he spills the suntan lotion and runs inside. The dad smiles.
Yeah.
And when he takes Kit Kat back to the New Year's party, the dad definitely knows because he hears them mention the cupboard.
Yeah, but I think when Tim is really good at something, his dad just knows. How many times have you done this, Sam? Like but yeah, I mean, but even there, you question it because there's one scene in the wedding where the dad goes back in time to change his wedding speech. But if it's Tim who's telling us the story, Tim doesn't know that.
Well, except what the dad thinks he didn't say is that he loved him, which he says. He says there's only 3 men I ever loved. So he does maybe he goes back, he tells him he goes back in time, but he's already done it. So
yeah, that's how I
the
took
version
it.
we see is the
that's how I took it.
Oh yeah,
too.
he doesn't say the 3 men I ever loved was before he goes back in time, wasn't it? I forgot that. I always thought that was in the second wedding speech. But yeah, shall we go and take a look at minute 4?
Yeah, second 23, you can see the point where Jay pulls him out of a cupboard because he's in there awkwardly, obviously.
All right, well, we'll be back shortly. Okay, so it's the New Year's party, the first time round. So in the script, a New Year's party. I'll just read the whole thing because I'm not. It's rough because we don't have any dialogue as to what point this minute starts. So, New Year's party, good songs from 2005 play. An awkward mixture of young people, old people, and children. Tim walks from the stairs into the old people's room, then into the dancing room. I mean, it's good that this actually discussed here, Robert, because we were confused as to where the old people were, because we thought there were too many young people. I don't think we see many old people in the earlier minute, do we?
There's an old dude right next to Kit Kat and Jimmy.
Then into the dancing room. There's one man dancing with peculiar, unwarranted confidence. It's Tim's friend Jay. Tim smiles, hopefully at a pretty girl. She ignores him in favour of a handsomer guy. He ends up dancing with a slightly strange girl, Polly. She, in contrast, gives him a very welcoming smile. Kit Kat passes him. She says, "I've just spotted the handsomest boy in the world. Bad news for you, you're down to number 2. We glimpse the boy. He is indeed handsome and dangerous. An hour later, Kit Kat and the handsome boy Jimmy, getting very close, his hand playing with the bottom of her skirt, cut on just before midnight. Tim is trying to get through the night, avoiding drunk people. Jay nudges a table and wine bottles and glasses all spill at once. Everyone makes little mistakes, Jay says. Suddenly, it's midnight. A big countdown to the big moment. Tim finds himself near the now rather drunk Polly. She moves towards him, leaning in for a New Year's kiss. He panics. Doesn't know what to do. Finally, on the dot of midnight, he just takes her hand and shakes it firmly. Happy New Year! Sorry. And I'll just check that there's nothing else of note. There's a little bit at the end. Okay. They look around. Everyone else is kissing. Kit Kat is now kissing the handsomest, coolest, nastiest looking boy at the party. 2 14-year-olds grabbing the moment. As Tim holds Polly's hand, we see a tear appear in the corner of... A tear, sorry. Let's start again. As Tim holds Polly's hand, we see a tear appearing in the corner of her eye. For her, it's a profoundly sad moment. No one loves her. She walks away. Tim is mortified, shakes his head. Bad start to the year. Kit Kat passes him. Very poor behaviour. Very poor. And then, interior Tim's bedroom morning. A wide window overlooks the lawn and the sea. And that is our minute. And actually, reading it out, Richard Curtis's writing, just in the notes, in the descriptions, I really like.
Wait, so I got a question real quick. Kit Kat's supposed to be 14 years old?
No.
No, I think that was
That was a reference to other kids.
Oh, okay. I was
But
going to say,
it
no
was
way.
it was odd that they were the only other people
Okay.
that were mentioned at that point. It is strange.
Yeah, she's
I'm
downing all
wondering
that
if-
hard liquor at 14.
Yeah, I was going to say, no way.
The girls on the couch when Jay spills stuff are pretty young, so they could be.
Fair enough.
I really like what you said, Robert,
And I mean-
in the original episode
Mm.
about, what's the guy's name that Kit Kat's
Jimmy.
with?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. That Jimmy was holding the drink and giving it,
Yeah, he's
To
pouring
her, and then
alcohol. into
later
her,
on-
yeah.
and then later on he's the reason
For her alcohol problems.
for the alcohol problems. And I really like that.
Yeah, and it
Didn't
cuts
think
from
of that. It
him
was-
pouring drink into her mouth to them with like their hands twisted around each other, drinking together. And that's how their relationship's going to be.
Yeah, I heard it and I was like, okay, I'll write that down. I'll steal that.
But the
Yeah,
script is just so tight. Everything is telegraphed beforehand like this.
Yeah. Well, we had a thing that kept
Every
finding
watching
out
of
is
this movie
that
just
people,
reveals more.
people didn't remember this movie after seeing it once, and then they'd like it more the second time. I think it's because of stuff like that. Like, you don't know who Jimmy is. You don't know he matters until later. We've barely seen the dad at this point, but he's dancing in the scene, you know?
It's 26 senses as you watch this the second time.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that makes him important is that the person who wrote the screenplay, because he definitely had the vision towards the end, is he also... Because that wasn't in the script, that they were feeding each other the drinks or that he started it. He added it in later on. So I think that is a good touch with the fact that the person who had control of how the characters were going to be developed in this world also had part in the origin.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get that disconnect between writer and director in certain cases like that. And this one, that little touch that does mean something, down is something that you get when you have a good combo of writer-director, but fortunately, it's both the same person.
Yeah. It's definitely fortunate that Richard is able to do that. And this was his last film directing. And he decided, like, on the set, that, or at some point during production, that this was going to be his last film. Incidentally, he said it was sort of linked to the theme of the film, the idea that he wants to spend more time appreciating the moment, appreciating time with his family, which makes sense. But it is interesting that this is the film he decided to leave on, because although Richard Curtis's directing in this is incredible, you say Richard Curtis, people don't think director, people think writer, because that's what he's known for. A Richard Curtis movie could be directed by anyone, and it's still a Richard Curtis movie.
I don't know, because like every director has their separate thing, you know.
I mean, it
Yeah, I
means
think
something.
it
But
would've
a
been a
good
very big
screenwriter
film.
has
Yeah.
their things as well that get past the director,
Yeah,
so you can still tell.
Yeah. So unless I missed it before I popped back on the call, Helen, we didn't ask you this time about this being your first impression of this minute. What did you get?
I think I can't remember exactly what wording you said was in the script, but the very first line was something like, "Good music starts playing." Now I was watching this minute just dancing along
All right,
the
I
whole
sing too,
time,
Frozen.
singing.
I didn't notice until this time round that there are people in the party who are singing along. Like it was,
yeah, you're here on the local, you like dancing
Yeah,
around.
I
and-
thought about that. I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be on audio
Yeah.
now."
You got a little surprise, Luke.
I actually have a question for Helen about this. So we
Okay.
went from 69 to 36 to 4. What do you think about seeing how awkward Tim is and his growth through the movie? Because you've kind of seen it from when he's with a woman to trying to hit it off with Mary and the way he dances with Polly.
You've watched
Yeah,
it
I mean,
backwards.
I think at this rate, I'm basically watching the film in reverse. I might as well just start with the last minute and work my way backwards.
about time, Memento edition.
I think you've just
Yeah,
given
it's
Robert
like-
the idea for his next Movies by Minute project.
I want to do Memento that way.
He is so awkward. That scene, I was cringing when I watched that bit where he doesn't kiss her and the music changes. That's such a good moment for the music to change.
Because he still had time when he realised. That's the thing. Like, he shook her hand and said sorry. Everyone was still kissing. He could have 100% got away with that. But
Yeah, he could have said sorry and then kissed her.
Yeah.
The sorry is what sells his how awkward and pathetic he is in that moment.
Yeah, because he realizes it.
So, he just can't help it.
Okay, so in the script, once again, Helen, this isn't what the rest of the film is like. In the script, he goes back in time and kisses her as we see in the film.
Right.
We then cut ahead to him waking up in the morning, and Polly comes out of the bathroom. He's just slept with Polly, but then he realizes it was her first time and undoes it because he doesn't think he should have been her first time.
No, not
Like-
that guy.
No, yeah, that's not good.
That I can see why that was cut. That just would not have worked as like Tim's first time travel, and for him to have screwed up that much.
You could make a movie about that, though. It'd be a horrible toxic masculinity kind of movie, but you could do it. Just goes around sleeping with people and then erasing it.
And then he's also, if he does that, it's kind of like he's making decisions on behalf of other people.
Yes.
That they were comfortable with in the first place. It's not like they weren't prepared for something. They made a decision and then he's decided to rewrite that. Bit different.
So, but the thing is that I want to, the reason why I was wondering about that question is because his level of awkwardness, it seems to be the same, but he's just more confident in his awkwardness because he knows he can fix it.
Yeah.
Versus the beginning of
Yeah, he's never had to fix his awkwardness.
Yes,
Have
so
you,
here.
Have you ever sat with someone, or seen a film like this, for example, and you've thought, oh, maybe there'd be a chance that with certain people this person wouldn't be quite as awkward, or it takes two people to make this situation awkward. All it takes is for one person to start talking to the other person.
Let me
answer
that real quick.
Not for him.
Let me answer that real quick. Yes, I have a mirror, so I'm very well versed with that.
But if it wasn't, with him, it feels like no matter who is there, no matter what they're doing, he will still make it awkward. There is no fixing that.
Did anyone else feel personally attacked?
I mean, I probably relate to Tim the most. Yeah.
No, these are things I say to myself every night. You could have fixed this. You could have.
I fall asleep to my misery.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, like I say, these are all sort of like all of the things that Tim redoes are the sort of things you think about in the shower the next day. It's just like you're sat there thinking, if only I'd said that, if only I'd done this, so
when you're in an argument, and then later on you're like, I should have said that.
I do love the fact that Tim is still awkward, like through most of the film, that he doesn't use that ability and then be like, well now I'm invincible. It's like,
which is
it's just because he just is awkward and there's no way around it. Mm-hmm. He can't think of a way out of it to go back in time and undo it.
Because his father's awkward and so is Posey.
Yeah, when they remove the whole scene where he tries to sleep with Polly, I think it becomes important because it makes it seem like he becomes too cocky and confident.
Right.
If we find out that Tim can sleep with people, technically it's dangerous grounds, because it would be that Tim could sleep with someone and that person would not know that he'd slept with her. If we knew from Tim's first time travel thing that he can go about and do these things and remove these things and all of that stuff, then all of his little decisions, little errors would seem of so little consequence.
Well, yeah, if he erased it,
we just wouldn't like him.
I like this version.
A predator, like
what it turns
the movie
him into.
Limitless.
Yeah.
Goes back in
it's
time,
more
it's
like,
hey, tonight was awesome.
Yeah.
It's more like he would be a paladin from the movie Jumper.
Yeah.
He'd be one of the people with the superpowers, but it'd be from the bad guy's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
instead, all he does is kiss Polly, and Polly's happy. Yeah. That's all we need.
I like the innocence of it all. I think it's brilliant we discussed on the show that it seemed like she didn't want any more from Tim. That like Tim in that moment basically made her
year. She had someone to kiss at midnight.
And that was it. Like we think that maybe Tim knew that Polly had had a crush on him for a while, and that just through kissing her, he would have just fulfilled her, childhood dreams. That it would have been, it could have been quite. And I do like the fact that it's so quite sweet and innocent. I think reading the original intention in the script almost ruined that a tiny bit for me.
Yeah.
It was just like... Ooh.
No, that was a good cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what makes this, what makes Polly kind of adorable in this thing is the way she dances, she seems just as awkward
Yes.
as him.
Yeah.
But what makes her different in this is it seems like she's been dreaming about getting that New Year's Eve kiss, and this is probably the closest she's been. And she's just confidently awkward about the whole evening.
Confidently.
And
Yeah, she dances him into a corner.
Yeah. And when she throws the dress over her face for some reason, it's adorably awkward.
Yep.
But she's no better than him in such a way, other than the time travel. It's just, she's really happy at this point. And I think that's what crushes her, is when she thinks like, oh, it's finally going to happen. Like, it's just this moment she can talk about that it happened. But he crushes her.
I should just say briefly to our audio listeners, just in case I didn't say it explicitly, the reason they're not hearing Katie now is that she dropped out of a call. Because I thought maybe it'd just be a slight brief thing, but if she's not had any comment for this minute, then it's probably important to say that she didn't just say horrible stuff.
She was
that we cut
horribly
out.
offended by this.
It was like when I just edited the episode where we claimed that we had Ben Folds on, but had to cut the episode because he swore like a sailor.
Yep.
Like it was. Which I think now means that if we manage to get Ben Folds on, he has to swear like a sailor.
Yes. So that you can bleep it, or you just bleep whatever he says, so it sounds like
we
he
just
swears.
we just get audio clips from Ben Folds interviews, and just release a bonus episode,
and then bleep those.
Have we got any other things to say? Because I think we probably could do one or two more of these random minute things. I was only going to do a couple, but this is fun. Unless anyone needs to go.
Just real quick, does Jimmy remind anybody of Cillian Murphy? If I said it right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Killian.
Killian. Yeah. I always mess it up.
I know the name. Where do I know the name?
Just
I'll
briefly,
I'll be the listener that doesn't know what that is. What is that?
Cillian Murphy, star of
28 Days Later. Sorry, had to put that in.
Yeah, he played
Scarecrow
a
in the Dark
Scarecrow.
Yeah, he played Scarecrow.
Yeah. And Peaky Blinders or whatever. Isn't that the one he's on now?
Blinders, yeah.
And he was
Blinders.
with
He's in
Rachel.
Inception as well.
He was in Rachel McAdams with Red Eye.
He was in Rachel McAdams.
No.
Poor wording.
Yeah. But that movie.
I don't remember that scene, so I'm gonna have to rewatch that. That's new to me.
The only thing
The
only thing I've got left to say about
with this knife.
the only thing I've got left to say. The only thing I've got left to say about this minute is that now I'm a little bit heartbroken that this isn't a movie where Polly and he end up together.
Yeah, they seem like a good fit.
Yeah.
She's just so sweet.
Yeah. The only problem with that is they're both super awkward, and you need somebody in the relationship not totally a goofball. And
She's
Mary's
insane in a whole other way.
She's goofy and awkward, but exactly. She's awkward in her own way, but she's definitely more level-headed. Not like comically awkward. So.
Yeah.
This minute just makes me pine for Polly's happiness.
Yep.
But that could be the sequel.
Well, and it's even worse because briefly he does erase this moment when he takes Kit Kat back, but then he erases that. So I guess this happened. I don't know.
Hashtag Tolly. Some shit in there. Tim and Molly. Yeah. Gotta ship them.
Okay. I think that's probably all that we've got to say on 4 before we move to the next thing. Helen, I know you've got to head off. Do you want to say briefly where we can find you on social media and whereabouts to keep a lookout for you?
Yes, So the name I use for acting is Helen Mae Austin. Mae is spelled M-A-E, and I'm that name on all the social medias that I should be findable on. For example, Instagram. Yeah, it's been great fun. Thank you. It's been
Thanks
fun
for coming
to,
on.
to watch the film backwards.
Yeah.
Now, Luke, who are you going to pick on now?
I don't know.
I know.
Everyone else has watched it.
I'll call on my dog. Bring him on.
Are you comparing me to your dog?
No, okay. This is the place to it.
Come back.
Do you need to go in the cupboard real quick?
Yeah, just give me a sec. I can do visual gags now. This is great. We need to use this medium. But thanks so much for joining us, Helen. And
Okay, cool. Thank
have
you
a good
very
rest
much
of your
for having me.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
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 Right. So shall we
Okay, so
generate
guy
another minute?
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
this is
do
what
we
we need.
really think about him going back to deflower?
Flower Polly to hook up with Charlotte.
So the big question, Polly, Mary, or Charlotte? Who do we think Tim should have ended up with?
Ended up with, I'd still say Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to stay with Polly. I'm going to stay with Polly.
It depends.
just- Yeah.
We
I'm
don't
gonna
know
go
enough
there.
about Polly.
If he didn't have the time traveling, it would have to be Polly.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it was obviously if he didn't have the time travel, I don't think he would have actually got with
Now, if there's no time
Mary,
travel,
you know?
did he run to Polly's house in the morning and just kiss her and say sorry for last night? Is that what
So
happened?
that's
Possibly. It might just be the same awkward.
Too.
I
Hey,
can
that's
tell
She
you
gets there,
this.
she's like,
I can tell
"What?"
you this.
Yeah.
I experienced something very similar in my life where there was the awkward didn't kiss but almost kissed moment with a girl, and we
Turned into a
did
fist
end
bump.
up later on acknowledging that and let it lead to a relationship.
Yeah.
And it ended awfully. It was terrible.
I was about to clap then. But
So when
I was like, hey, well done.
so when Tim goes back with Kit Kat, I know this ends up getting erased, but if it didn't get erased, would Tim have still kissed Polly?
Well, no, because he's busy with Kit Kat in that moment.
But he comes out of a different cupboard, so that could have been after, right?
It could have been right after he could have come back out for the awkward moment.
See, here's the thing that I was thinking when he did that. Would Jimmy have ended up with Polly and screwed up her life?
The association, the idea is that Jimmy would have just ended up with anyone else, isn't it? Because that's what's sort of joked about.
And
Yeah.
and he seems like a predator type, so
Oh, he
Polly being the
100%
more
is.
awkward, stuck in a corner, and Jimmy, like, was just
I'd like to
everybody
think
witnessed
Polly's
him
smarter
getting
than
his. I'd hope so too.
But also, I
Yeah.
don't think we see enough of Jimmy to see why she likes him. I mean, I know it's a different story, a different film, but I don't feel like we can make fair judgment on Jimmy based on how little we see of him. Although how little we see of him, he's awful.
Yeah, other than him
Yeah.
flirting with the bartender at the wedding,
But we don't know
most
if they
of
were
what we
together at
actually
that
see
point.
of him, he's not that bad.
We
he
don't-
obviously worries
Yeah.
about Kit Kat
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
when he goes
Yeah.
to the house and he's like, you know,
he's worried that
Where
she
is
didn't
she?
make it there.
so I don't think it's like
Yeah, he seems all right
the
then.
worst.
Clearly, he's a friend of the family or
yeah.
something because he was at the
He's-
party.
Yeah, he's not absolutely toxic of a person. He's just a bad influence on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's very impressionable.
And she's 14, as we recently learned. So
Oh, so it's also a predator.
that's clear anyway.
And so did I since realise that all of you, like those of you, stay on the call when you're watching the video? Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
I'm missing out on stuff here. It's mostly just because I'm watching the minute on my phone rather than the call on my laptop. Just because the amount of time it takes to load a link or a video on this laptop is awful, and I feared losing all internet connection. But yeah, like, are we ready to generate another minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
If this ends up being
Sure.
the perfect one, we could have had Helen discuss. Like,
No, it's going to be the sex scene.
Just get her back.
We need you
We
back
have an
for this
emergency
minute.
sex scene. Get back here.
It's a nice.
Imagine
nice
looking at your
round
phone and
number.
being like, "We need you for the sex scene. Come back."
Number 70.
It's what every woman wants to hear.
Oh, 70?
70.
Nah, don't do 70.
Why don't
You
we do
already
70?
read it.
Did I?
Yeah.
You read into
Yes.
it when you
Oh,
did
because we did
69.
69.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. That would be a little unfair. Cut that. Hang on. Let me just go into the cupboard.
You should play a little game.
I'll
Hey,
do
what
this.
you
I'll
should
do this
do-
gag as many times as I can on video. I'm going to go into the cupboard. Actually,
Do
I
what
wanna-
gag?
I
I've
need
only
to-
seen
I
that
need to
once.
one-up this.
He's just going to play the same one over and
Wait,
over
there's
again.
a gag?
I
Just
need to
splice
one-up
it
this
in.
on
Yeah.
video. One moment.
There he goes.
Did he just open his window? Oh no! I was like, "Don't jump
Oh, you
out."
had to get it. You had to get it dark.
Just pretend it worked or something.
The awful thing is I couldn't see or hear your reactions as to whether that was entertaining at all. Right. I don't even know how it looked either.
Dark.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep that in. I can add the sound effect as well. We can we can be all right with this. But also add the awkward running forwards and backwards. Obviously. I'll then find out with the Skype recorder that it either freezes me or cuts me somewhere, because that happened with the live chat we did after. Well, not live chat. With the chat we did after Unstable when that came out. For most of the Q&A that we had afterwards, I'm just frozen like that. It's awful. So let's generate once more. 5. No.
No!
What?
Right. One more time.
Next one's
If this is
37.
What? Yeah, all right. 50.
This one will be 35.
50.
50.
What's 50?
I can't even think.
Oh, is that
It must
still
be
recording?
around the.
It's about where you are now, isn't it? I
Yeah,
thought
it
you
must.
just
It must be
released.
around the.
Oh, it is. The sex.
It's sex.
Oh my god.
Is it
This
the
was
sex scene, is
planned.
it?
You did this on purpose.
Sorry, the thumbnail for the video.
I'm going to text Helen and tell her to come back.
At least we know that Helen isn't the the reason for all of this. Oh, Helen's on.
Too ironic not to jump back in.
Oh, did Reece send you a message?
Amateurs.
Yeah, well, thanks for popping back on. I nearly sent you a message, so
Right.
clearly
Yeah.
Reece did.
Sorry.
That's too funny.
Come up.
Yeah.
I just thought, it'd been talked about so much. I thought I may as well see the scene you've been talking about.
In all fairness, this scene was also Simon Fisher Becker's first experience with About Time. We invited him on. He probably thought he was just coming on to talk about his acting in Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and he comes in and it's like, and here's a sex scene, which you don't see how many times he relives that moment. That was most of the 5 minutes we had that week. It was not good.
Yeah, it's awkward watching that scene. I think maybe if you have more context, he's an awkward guy anyway, but yeah, I was watching that definitely being like, oh, okay, you're gonna say that? That's a strange thing to say.
Yeah, it's an odd one. It's a. I mean, I've got the script here. If we're ready for that.
Yes.
Obviously, Helen, you've given your opinion. Feel free to stay or leave it.
I may give it a minute, then,
So we go about from. Do we go about from cut to him re-entering the room, now taking off his top as he
Yes.
approached the bed and removes her pajama top? Cut to them lying in bed together. They are splayed out and completely satisfied. Wow, best night of my adult life. Cut on, and off comes a pyjama top again. Cut to them in bed again. They are utterly exhausted. Wow, best night of my entire life. And now I've got suspicion I'm going to have the best sleep of my entire life. Mary says, oh really? So once is enough for my perfect guy? Tim says, I'm not sure that's completely fair. This isn't in the film, I don't think. Mary says... This next line, I mean. Mary says, just one more little kiss. It's 4 a.m. Perfect timing. And then we go to exterior Goulburn Road morning. Tim and Mary rush out into the busy morning street. Exterior/interior underground station/various.night/day. They're heading down the stairs, then escalator of Maida Vale Station. The folksy romanticism of How Long Will I Love You plays. They pass the buskers playing it. And I think that's all of the montage that we get, really, in that minute. But it's a lovely montage, and a nice that we get a little hint of that montage, so maybe we can give some attention to that and not just the sex scene. Anyone want to talk?
Everybody's speechless.
Nah.
All right, well, I have a question about semantics then, and of course, it has to do with time travel, right?
Yes, this might be the same question we had.
Okay, so if he goes back in time, is he starting fresh each time, or is he done this physically? So when
because later he goes into his childhood self, so clearly it's physical changes.
So each time it should be a fresh start for him. So it's not like his stamina should basically be at the same level every single time, correct?
Physically, yeah.
Okay. So when the way it's filmed, you would think that he's like wiped out, and she only thinks it's the one time, but he's really done it 3. But basically, so it's really wouldn't be that big of a deal for him to be so exhausted on the 3rd time when she's kind of implying once is only enough, or isn't enough.
Well, unless time travel also takes energy.
Yeah, true.
Like now he's too exhausted to even travel.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. He could just time travel to this night, like whenever he's bored.
Oh, right.
If she's on a business trip or something.
Yeah, but then one wrong move, and they could just like not be together when he comes back. I mean, I'd hope it's not. I'd hope it's not that fragile, but you never know their relationship. I hope it's not that fragile, but you'd hope. But yeah, that would be weird. He just sort of thinks, but he's just stuck on his own, waiting for a train, and he's like, I'll just pop by.
Yeah, they're married for like 10 years, and he goes back and ruins it all because he did something wrong that one night, right at the beginning.
Whenever she's not in the mood, he goes back here. Yeah. She finds out.
No, but so here's the thing about this scene, especially where she goes, so once isn't enough for my perfect guy. Mm-hmm. Does it get into his head like, oh, I didn't have to go back every time. I could have just kept doing it all night.
Do you think with this episode, when we put it up on the YouTube, we just put like a little visual warning saying like, no bad language, but content is discussed?
Yeah. 14 plus or 16 plus or 18 plus.
I mean, I think it's mostly a case of if you've seen the film, then you're fine.
Yeah, you should be fine. Yeah.
So me and Robert.
How many people are gonna?
We could record a little something.
Oh, and how many people are gonna watch this having not seen the film?
Yeah. We haven't been too utterly risque, I don't think.
No.
The only thing I'm thinking is, I mean, I didn't ask Robert what social media we put this on, but if we end up putting it on, like, both your YouTube or your Lemon Drops page and my Bottle Productions page, I'd imagine there's a few Bottle Productions viewers that will watch it but haven't seen the film.
Maybe, yeah.
So,
I noticed something in this minute.
Yeah?
That bothers me. Because we know the vintage shop is fake.
Yeah.
Down on the street.
It's based on a different vintage shop. Yeah.
Their continuity for the set is putting a bike in the stairs. But that's a different bike in the stairs.
Is it?
I went and clicked on when her parents show up, and the bike in the stairs is right by the door, and it's blue. This bike looks red, and it's not up by the stairs. The stairs turn up past the bike.
Maybe one's Tim's bike and one's Mary's bike?
Maybe.
Like,
But they said the
been a
bike
few
was
months.
their specific thing to get continuity between locations.
Yeah, that was what Liz and JP said, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If only we had Liz on today. She may join us for the commentary,
Nice.
and then we can ask all our questions. Once again, Graham Curry was busy. It was very sad.
Tragic.
He always is.
Yeah, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
I just want to keep stretching out these Graham Curry comments because I know that Curtis, Reece, and Johann have no idea who he is. It's funny.
No, he's been mentioned on the show already.
Yes, technically. Yes. Robert, I don't know if you heard this, Bryon. Robert went back
I added
and
a joke.
edited a line.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
That's
good.
awesome.
Do we tell Johann, Reece, and Curtis?
No.
Or do you actually think we leave it?
They have to discover it.
What's that? Sorry.
Who the mystery life of one Graham Curry?
Yeah, no, I don't know who that is.
I'll find out the episode number and the date.
Is it the one with the set designer?
No, it's
not.
No,
Or has it not been released yet?
It's
It
not
hasn't
been released
yet.
and
It's not-
won't be
okay,
released
alright.
for quite a while.
The episode where I
Yeah.
added a reference to his name has been released, but no one would know who he is.
Yeah, it was. I really like the fact that you did that. That in editing you added a reference to a future episode.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
What
So-
episode was it?
I think it's September. You said
It was
something
one of-
late.
Yeah, well, the
That-
episode it comes out, is the 21st of September 2020. It's episode 61, entitled "Dedicated to Graham Curry."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
61.
Robert's reference was in one of Curtis's episodes. I think it was around. It's not loaded now, but I think it was the episode. No, what was it called? No description for the episode, just titles.
Oh, right.
I think it was
Yeah,
first.
right,
yeah, I
right.
think it's that one.
Yeah,
I think it was 1st of
that
July.
one. Yeah.
You know, it took ages for IMDb to accept that plot description.
Too long.
Well, I think it's more that they do have people read through it, and I'd imagine if they didn't, no, I had to submit it 2 or 3 times for it to actually happen. Because I'd imagine they looked at that and thought that doesn't explain the plot, and then eventually someone
Yeah.
read the title and thought, there we go.
Yeah.
That was Curtis's episode, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, Curtis, we did have some good quotes on that episode.
Yeah. Just what'd you had like 30 of them.
That was, yeah.
Well, like, thank you, Robert, for taking your time to write that description. That was. If for some reason the listeners didn't actually read the description of that episode, go back, read the description for the 1st of July's episode. No description for this episode, just titles.
The finger guns. Yeah, I like that bit. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah,
Should I try and read this out?
Yeah, go.
We'll do it live, or if Kate Moss is listening, I'm sorry, or there's no Kate Mossy things happening in her life, or Instagram has rules, or okay, I've got another time traveler in my hands, or the Rachel McAdams universe, or it's like a bootstrap paradox kind of thing, or I'd never go back to me if I was time traveling, or why do these guys in the Lake family keep secrets from their wives, or you could really save money on holidays, or everyone thinks they're the only one who can time travel, or I had to stop someone from killing Hitler again, or the Pentagon just released footage of HBO, or that's one version of time travel, or I don't think we got past the first line, have we? Or she's more impressed with the concept of more than one starter, or I want to fluff your pillows, or it's not allowed on the Christian Minecraft server, or I see now hearing it, or you take the kid with you, or 10 minutes is long enough for any tangent, or it only took 44 episodes but we finally got it, or my real name is Graham Curry, or that's Rachel McAdams doing Curtis right now, or we've nailed this, I get this podcasting business, or is that a bleepable thing or no? Or is this really the best we can do? Yes, it is, and it took a lot of work to get this time. That is the finger guns. That's the best finger guns I've seen in a film. Or it's like Rachel McAdams never put on a cardigan before. Or a secret plot to get Rachel McAdams to talk to Luke. Or this is one of the dirtiest restaurants in the world. Or when do you Americans learn? Or there's a lot of awards I didn't win. Or I'd like to come across cool and interesting with Curtis Bloes looking at minutes 43 and 44 of About Time. That's the clip we put on our Twitter. It'll make no sense because the clip is just referencing a previous episode.
Yeah, what was it? The Hitler one. Was it like time traveler cops or something.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
website
Time
with time
traveler
traveler, and they always had to go stop the first timers from killing Hitler.
I'm more happy with the concept that some of you actually listen to the show. This is what excites me.
Hold on a sec.
So when Johann's back, we can hopefully keep generating. I mean, I think we can keep generating until there's like one guest left, because this is fun.
Yeah, dwindle us down.
Well, I am at my turning into a pumpkin time here, 3 p.m. my time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I got people coming to the house here in the next little bit, so I'm gonna have to excuse myself and get ready.
That's fine. So I guess it's time when Johann's back to just do our little social media plugs, and then we call it off.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to hop out now.
Okay, where can our listeners find you on social media, Johann?
You guys can find me on the Independence Day Minute, which we finished about Independence Day, and previous podcast was the Roughneck Minute, which was Starship Troopers. And I've been on this one. I think the minute's right after this current 2 minutes that we're doing on this.
Yes, you are.
Which came out 2 weeks ago? Or
At the recording time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's 2
Ages ago to the listeners.
Yeah. And then I did a bunch of minutes on the room.
Yep.
Yeah, you've beaten me, and I'm really annoyed.
Yeah. Am I the record holder right now?
Currently, yes. Although Luke's about to be a guest again.
How close am I?
Well,
I think you still one ahead.
I think he might still be one ahead.
I have
yeah.
5. Yeah, I have 5. All right. Thanks
All right,
a lot, guys.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, so who's next for social media plugs? Because I guess
I'll get out here. I've let's see. You can find me. This is Curtis. You can find me just at my name, Curtis Bloes .link. Curtis Bloes link.tree. Whatever link tree is, put my name on it, and that's where all of my stuff is.
Okay.
That's Better Off Dead Minute, all the other stuff, 1,000 different guest spots, my photography, the news site, everything. And it's been amazing being on. Today was so much fun. I had no idea what we were going to be in for. It was just, I thought there's no way this can work, and
I'm surprised it's worked,
Thank
and
you so
I haven't
much.
lost internet. This is really impressive.
All right, so then here's me awkwardly not knowing how to shut this off.
The red phone-looking thing.
Yeah.
Should do it.
You see, I got nothing like that on here.
I really hope that
I found it. Goodbye,
for
guys.
about
Bye.
I really hope that on the video version there'd just be like an extra 10 minutes of Curtis just going about his day.
Yeah.
We all leave. It's just him in the background.
I'll give him 5 more minutes.
I mean, Robert, if you got time after everyone's gone, we could do one more as a pair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Bryon Lockhart with the Marine Corps Movie Minute podcast, and we are currently breaking down movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time, just like 2 minutes about time, but only doing 1 minute at a time. And we are we're doing Heartbreak. Or dumber, but
well, your episodes are half the length of our ones, so clearly it's about equal.
Well, we're doing Heartbreak Ridge, and it's the Clint Eastwood movie where he trains a bunch of knucklehead Marines, and we can be found at the Marine Corps Movie Minute, just on Facebook. We have a Podbean site. Just put us in there, and you'll find us. And I look forward to my episodes coming up on About Time about Graham Curry.
Yeah. Hopefully the listeners enjoyed them.
The legendary. Oh, right. It's time travel. It's in the past already. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
It's been a lot of fun.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah, to the listeners, because they won't know, we're recording this on the 29th of July, 2020. So this is months ahead. I can work out the exact fixed date. So, Reece, I mean, depending on your time, you're welcome to join us for one last one, or you can say your social medias and either or.
Sure. Oh, I guess I can join you if you want.
Okay, brill.
Wait, what time is it?
It's just gone 9.
I'll stay. I might drop out halfway
that's
through
fine.
if that's all right.
Let's find out if a screen share will come up in the actual final Skype recording. It should, right?
Possibly.
You're all seeing this, and hopefully in the video version they'll also see this. Wherein now I'm going to press. You're seeing this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. 114.
Oh.
Isn't that like the credits?
No, that's
No.
walking
I-
on the beach.
I cut the credits out. Ah.
Oh, okay.
You able to send over 114, Robert, and we
Yep,
can take a little look at that.
Wait, is that the one when he goes back with his dad?
Yeah, he's a little kid.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one thing that I always thought: could they not just like live forever?
Sort of.
Like, could they not just like go back in time
I thought about
to when
this.
they were a kid and then just live their life again but differently?
Like if Tim got like, I don't know, if he was, say Tim got shot, right, and he, as he was slowly bleeding out, he held on, made his way into a cupboard, went back in time to like when he was 10, and then just relives all of his life up to that moment again, and then just doesn't get shot. Like, assuming it's not an instant death, I guess you could with anything, just relive over and over and over again.
Yeah, maybe his dad does. Maybe that's how he gets so much rating done. He just keeps going back to that 50th birthday when he retired.
This should have been how we did bonus minutes. This would have been more fun.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, we never knew what they were anyway. It might as well have been. I have a question if you still got the script handy.
Yes.
I need to know if the script says Kit Kat's a mom.
I wasn't crying. Someone's cutting onions.
Exterior beach day. Cut to the beach. Father and son walking along together. Towards the beach, music plays. They go round a corner for a moment. And when they reappear a little further away, we see that Tim is 10 again, a little boy holding tight to his father's hand. We watch them walk away as young Tim skips and twirls in the joyful wind around the father he has always loved. Ah, so sorry. Exterior family home, winter's evening. Cut to outside the family home again, but now it's winter. So now I'm almost up to date with my story. Sometimes, just for fun, I still bounce around. Interior family home living room, winter evening. Cut inside where Christmas is being celebrated around the tree. Uncle Desmond in a radiant waistcoat, Jay holding a new iPad, kids everywhere. Tim says, "Mum, surprisingly modern and good taste gift for you." She says, "Thank you. Open yours, it's even better." He opens it, the most hideous hat of all time, the full knitted Santa. "What do you think?" He says, "I think it's gorgeous, and matches Mary's." And Mary says, "Of which I'm deeply proud." Cut to Mary wearing the hat, the only hat in the world that might be uglier. Her face shows she actually has doubts about it as a fashion item. Cut back to his mum, delighted. "What do you think? You were very clever to drop that hint." Then cut back to Tim. He's now holding the iPad, not the hat. "Wasn't I? It's brilliant. Have you got one of these, Jay?" Jay is wearing the hideous hat. Kit Kat is wearing Mary's. "No, I'd love one. But who really needs it when you've got this hat?" Exterior, Tim and Mary's house day. The outside of the London house. But in the end, I think I've at last learnt the full message from my strange adventures in time. The truth is, now I don't travel back at all, not even for the day. Interior, Tim and Mary's bedroom, landing, early morning. Empty corridor, a little sleepy child wanders past. In the bedroom, both of them are in bed, a glowing grey morning outside. A phone alarm goes off. Mary snaps it off. And that is where we go.
So that part isn't there at all. It goes past it.
He just says kids everywhere.
I
That's
figured it was something added because cast-wise, Kit Kat does not have a baby.
Oh, so you think it's like a reused baby?
Oh, I think it's their kid. Or they cast it weird because there's not another baby listed in the cast.
Oh, so what you think? Like
they
maybe,
decided, like in editing, we'll make sure it's Kit Kat's child, and so they put these lines in. About her being a mother.
It's a nice touch, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, making her a mother, it's showing, like, they've all matured.
Yeah.
But we do have a shot in the end montage, don't we? Like, a few minutes later, when she's, like, she and Jay are pushing a kid in their trolley.
I'm double checking.
In a trolley. Like a shopping trolley. Push it down a hill.
So there's something there.
I wonder if his kids will be time traveling.
Well,
They
the
probably
boy will
won't
be.
they? What, a kid? Yeah.
I think the
That'd be
question we
interesting.
asked is whether Kit Kat and Jay's
Okay, yeah.
if
Kit
they
Kat
have a
and Jay are
son.
pushing a kid in the car, yeah.
Yeah, but with
Trump.
Kit Kat and Jay, one of the questions we have, which would be interesting to get your opinion on, Reece,
Go on.
is if Kit Kat and Jay have a child, as they do. I don't know. Do we know if it's a boy or a girl, or do we not really tell from
It's
those
hard.
minutes?
It's from behind and it's dressed in purple, so don't know.
We just know it's Kit
Right.
Kat's child.
It's a mini Kit Kat in
But
purple.
if it's a boy, can he travel in time?
How does it pass?
Does Kit Kat carry the genetics for time
No.
travel? But
I think
just
he
can't
says
travel
it's
herself?
from the father's side.
I don't think he
well,
says,
it's
but
all-
it's
it's
just
all-
implied because the only other person he mentions was an uncle.
Because he says every what was it? He says every male of the family
it's-
carries the gene. Like,
If it's
or something
every
like that.
male
I don't
and
think
it passes
Kit Kat.
through the females as well to the next male, if it started long enough ago, there would be a lot of time travelers out there.
That's true.
So I think it'd have
A
to
lot
be
of
father and
timelines.
son just to limit it.
So it
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, it can't be that the daughter unknowingly carries it, because then it would lead to an interesting sort of relationship between Tim and the child, which I think we said before would make a good sequel. That it's just like Tim telling the new child about
What
theirs
happens
and
when
they
one of
carry
those
on.
kids
I mean-
never finds out because like their parent dies when they're young? It's like, oh no.
I was just about to say, what if
Yes.
they can time travel, but because usually the mother doesn't know
Yeah, they
about
just
it,
aren't told.
so it's like they're not told and they never figure it out.
And then they do it
so
accidentally
They might
and
be
lose their
able to.
minds.
Oh, hold up. Here's a. It's sort of a slight. I guess it's sort of Harry Potter thing. But what if, the parents die, the child ends up with like a really, really abusive people who just put him in the cupboard, and at one point he just goes, he's in the cupboard and he thinks, I wish I hadn't done that. Bam, and he suddenly realizes he can time travel.
Sequel?
Richard, hire me. I'll write about
Or-
time
or even a
too, even
prequel.
timier.
That's how the father found out.
Yeah.
He says.
we don't know
Well,
about
he says
his
his
dad's
father
stuff.
was. I forget how he describes it in the wording, but he's
A frosty
yeah.
bugger. I think.
Who mentioned it? I think someone mentioned it. I think it was you two. You said, like, wondering if Tim's dad, went back in time and changed
Yeah.
Tim.
So he had
Yeah,
a different
yeah.
child, went back in time, and then came back, and Tim was there.
Hence, that's why
Do
he
you know
knows
what I mean?
that you can't.
So-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
at some
So
point he
someone
did
must have done it, right?
because he knows.
Yeah. So there's one part of being a mistake, and then there's been like a time mistake. Like, that's a proper mistake. Like, oops.
And it'd
I
always
didn't
be
mean to
really
have
weird if you came back and the baby was very similar but not quite the same, and it's just kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, it took a.
So you don't really realise.
Oh
that
yeah,
there's,
like he has a birthmark on his
Yeah.
back or something,
Now
and they
it's a
don't
demon
realize
time
until.
baby. Like, oh, no.
I wonder if they'd have had twins. You come back and you got two kids, and you're like,
Or well, one of the other things
No.
I've thought is, what if he goes back in time and somehow leads to Mary having an affair, and he just like.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think worse would be he comes back and there's not even a kid. Well, that's what I said on the show. Is you could threaten that kid anytime. I could just
yeah,
erase you.
if you don't shut up, I'll turn this car around. You don't shut up, I'm erasing you out of existence. That's another way of, I brought you into this world and I can take you out of
Yeah,
it.
I can take you out of it right now.
And quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, you never existed in this world.
The kid tackles him as he's trying to get.
You
into
are
the
a
closet.
mistake. I prefer Timmy. I prefer Timmy Jr.
Oh my goodness! Imagine like them getting a character getting drunk and going back in time and just not being like in a right state of mind as he goes back in.
No. You gotta stay sober when you're a time traveler.
Yeah,
Don't
or
risk it.
he goes back in time to the wrong point, or he ends up in some sort of midpoint. He just doesn't aim his time travel quite correctly and ends up in some sort of midpoint where he doesn't exist either. He's erased himself.
Instead of a
He erases
designated driver,
himself.
he's got a designated keep me out of the cupboard.
Yeah, but
Don't let me go into any
imagine
dark
Tim
places.
turning to Jay and saying, "If I get drunk, make sure I don't go into the cupboard. Bad things happen when I'm in that
Don't let me go
cupboard."
anywhere
Don't let me
dark.
go to the bathroom alone. Make sure the light's on.
He only drinks at bars that are really bright.
Yeah, people are really confused to why Tim's a heavy daytime drinker.
Yeah. Don't drink it, man. It's too late.
I can't risk it.
I love that explanation. It's like, why don't you drink it like too dark?
Last time I drank, I had twins.
If the thing is, this week I wasn't going to use quotes for episode titles, but that would have been one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Was this the last episode, is it? Or is this going to be one
no,
that you'll
the
put...
commentary is what we're thinking is the last one, but this is the last Monday.
This would be the
Shall we do a bad
Alright.
review, Robert? You don't know
no.
about this yet, Reece.
I do not know
Basically,
about this.
as of towards the latter part of the show, every Monday we read a bad review for About Time.
Okay.
It was
Alright.
suggested by one of our guests, Callum, as he said that some of the bad reviews are really funny, and they really are. I decided, and I've edited out every time we actually mention the reviewer's name, because I don't want any listeners to just go and give hate to the reviewer.
I should add them.
Do you? Oh yeah, because you have my audio now. Because I never got round to sorting out my computer in the end and doing that reset, but you've got all of my locals.
Oh, I could just add it myself.
Oh yeah, because you could find the review easily enough.
I say, by the way, the name that Luke is avoiding. And I'll tell him where they live.
Wait, so I was thinking this right. So you can find, if you have a picture of somewhere, you can find that place on Google Maps.
Not always, but I'm pretty good at it, yeah.
Okay. How long does it take you usually?
Oh, it took me, a few hours to find Luke's?
Oh, okay. All right.
It's like, as long as there's some other information. In his case, I knew.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably try and not mention too much about
Yeah.
where I live.
Exactly.
You just know
as soon as I realised that Robert could do that, I started being really careful when editing stuff. It was like, so this is definitely getting edited out. Robert explaining how he found out where I live. Like it's
And his address, by the way. Actually, I don't remember the address.
No.
okay. So have I read this one?
So
yeah, I've
sorry.
read this one.
What's the last episode again? Is that the commentary?
Yeah, the last
Yes.
episode will be the commentary. So the plan is, I've read all these reviews. Right, the plan is that the last week of the show. So to the listeners, Friday just gone will have been the time when we looked at the last couple of 2 minutes of the film. For the last bonus week of the show, we have. This episode is the Monday. On the Wednesday, it'll be me and Robert in October talking about the show and, like, just in hindsight about what we think about it now, how it's changed, anything. I mean, I don't think anything else will be different, but you never know. We could be podcast celebrities by October, Robert. You know.
October.
Okay, so I don't think we've read this one before. You can correct me, Robert, if I'm wrong. 1 star. This film made me angry. It had me fooled to begin with, as it introduces the scene in a thoroughly charming fashion. It started to get irritating when Rachel McAdams and her fringe showed up on screen. I don't think the fringe was enough to ruin the film, despite the incessant mentions it got in the script. But it was around the point when I started to notice that the story and the characters' behaviour was idiotic. The direction was appalling, with all sorts of stupid montages that were irritating as hell. The more it went on, the more annoyed I got with the pathetic execution of its conceit. I could see it was trying to be humorous and charming, but even that was coming across as annoying. Cinematography was really poor. So many scenes were afflicted with a wishy-washy look and clearly inappropriate contrast ratio settings. It made me wonder if anyone was bothering to check what they just filmed. I really don't think there's anything redeeming here by the time it ended. One of the worst British movies I've seen. Spoiler notes. I didn't realise there was so much... I thought the review was finished. The plot seemed potentially good to begin with, and it certainly had a comedic charm with the initial introduction to the family and the concept that the men can travel within their own lifetime. So basically,
Also, quickly,
Quantum Leap
sorry.
then. Yeah, sorry.
Don't be dissing Rachel McAdams' fringe, alright? So, you lost me there, right? I would have been like, okay, you got some fair points, but you lost me right at the start. Carry on.
So basically, Quantum Leap then. They didn't try to clarify the technical details of this. Like if you time jump, what happens if you meet your duplicate within the time frame? That's not how this time travel works.
Right.
It's mostly that comment was me as well. I think what the viewers will see, but the listeners won't, is when I'm talking about myself, I go closer to the microphone, and when I'm reading a review, I go here. They didn't try to clarify the technical details of this, like a time jump. It's mostly clear that you replace him, yet you have your original memories before you jumped. This is a concept movie to show you time travel wouldn't be the solution to your daily problems. You're not expected to question this too much. A bit like Groundhog Day. Good, yeah. It's like
So they liked it.
Yeah, Groundhog Day was a good film.
Yeah, and Robert, it's genuinely a privilege that you're allowing me to come onto Cock and Bull to talk about Groundhog Day, considering how major that film is to you.
I was actually going to point that out earlier, that the first time he time travels, it just reminded me of Groundhog Day. Because, you know, the first time all this stuff is happening, like the table, like them falling over the table.
Yeah.
You know, at the party, and then him going back and realising it's all going through and he's stopping it all. So I was like, oh, that reminded me of Groundhog Day.
I think Richard Curtis said something about, like, deliberately not watching Groundhog Day when writing it or something. There was, like, because I think a few people asked him about that. It's about having an allegory to say carpe diem sort of thing, or at least it should be. It totally fails to have that impact because it's nothing unsurprising or earth-shattering. And because it didn't add anything innovative, there were 2 points where this idea almost got interesting. One where his original meeting with the girl was wiped as he tries to save his father's friend's play from being a disaster, and later when choosing between his sister and his baby. It was also idiotic when he meets Margot Robbie again and almost has a misstep, only to rush up and propose. Then the proposal is redone. The fact their entire relationship is based on a lie is highly questionable too. But then that's the least of its problems. At least the tone of the film informs you that you're not supposed to see that as a problem. Ah, there's more. Okay, I thought that was done. Right.
See, that's kind of what I was going for earlier about the whole... It's all based on a lie, with basically like everything being for his own... what's the word? Selfishness, I guess. Like sorry, I've cut in again. But, you know, you were saying like he's a unreliable narrator in that.
Yeah.
So he's only letting us see what he wants to see, even though morally they are wrong. Like all the times that he uses it, it's morally wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Some of it, yeah, it could be.
Yeah. So everything that he goes back for is for him in some way. Like, even when he goes back to save Kat, although you can say it is for Kat, it's for... What's the word? Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a thing. It's like it's partly for him because I think he feels guilty for that happening, so he's trying to get rid of his guilt.
Well, yeah,
because
he didn't notice she was having problems.
Yeah, and he feels guilty because he feels like he probably should have.
But that reviewer's also describing the good parts of the movie, and like that's the plot.
Yeah. Okay, so they...
Like, it almost got interesting at the points where, stuff happened.
Wow.
Okay, so there's
Stuff
more.
happened.
We're about halfway through this review.
Oh, bloody hell. I'm going to have to get going in a minute.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll speed this up.
All right.
The other thing that annoys... Also, you are obviously free to plug your social media and vanish whenever. We don't have you at gunpoint. Or at least the listeners aren't supposed to know that we do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
The other...
Help me.
The other thing that annoys me is it makes up the rules as it goes. We're only getting to see the results without getting any sense that the character is acting rationally. He's jumping around, saving his sister, suddenly he can time travel with another person, then he's jumping back to his future and everything's the same except his baby? Why? Because the timing was slightly out and the specific sperm that created the baby had changed?
Yes.
So he jumps again to undo this. But how? How does he get back to having the exact same sperm? Okay, let's assume that that is possible. This leads to the much bigger plot hole towards the end. The main thing that I think we say is that he just goes back in time so that he's not gone to when he went back in time, so he doesn't do it. Yeah. So he jumps again to undo this, but how? How does it get back to having exact same sperm? Okay, let's assume this is possible. This leads to the much bigger plot hole towards the end. His father has died, but he keeps jumping back to see him. Then his wife says, let's have another baby. He knows that if he conceives the baby, then any further jumping back will change it, i.e. effectively kill it and replace it with another. So he conceives and it keeps jumping back. WTF? Seems he doesn't care. It's changing every time that he.
What's
he
conception,
does.
not birth?
Yeah. He does that because it's not born yet, and he hasn't got to know it, so he doesn't care. I'm fine with that. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Either that, or the writer doesn't expect audience to care about this consequence. The fact is, I got a distinct impression the writer didn't care about the audience, and that annoyed me too. But the issue with Richard clearly cares about the audience if he's listening to this show. Like that, that sort of proves instantly that point is wrong. But the fact, it didn't care about the audience, and that annoyed me too. But the issue with this conundrum he has to face of never seeing his father again or having a new baby makes no sense, as he was able to correct it the first time he switched his baby. So if it's fixable, then there's no reason he can't keep going back to see his father. Ridiculous. I think we discussed this as well, because it is the obvious plot hole.
That's not a plot hole,
but
that's just...
It's the point where he just learns to let go, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't need to keep doing it.
And if it takes so much effort and screwing it up to do so, then it's about the point where he goes, okay, now's when we say goodbye.
Yeah.
It's such a horribly execute concept film that I think it's forever tarnished everyone involved. And here's a comment which has been said in almost every review we've read, I think, except Bill Nye. He's still cool. The only reason I'm giving this the lowest mark... I'm sorry, the reason I'm not giving this the lowest mark is that the first 10 minutes were good. Had a few good music tracks, though most of the score was dire. Disagree. And that the idea could have been worthwhile, but this is a low 2. I should say, by the way, low 2, I guess they mean 2 out of 10, because they gave us 1 star, I think. Which isn't 2. Yeah. If they want to hear us talk about the music, ages ago now, Robert, on Your Wife's podcast, My Life is a Playlist, we talked about time and the music in that, so if they haven't heard that, they can check that out. The one final sentence or two is IMDb was just looking at what else Richard Curtis has written, and it's a good mixture of really good stuff and really bad stuff. Chalk this up as one of the really bad ones.
Some people, they have no taste.
And the people commenting,
Uncultured
great.
swines. So I'm going to get hunted down, aren't I?
Everyone in the comments of this person's reviews agree.
Damn. I might not plug my social media now. I'm scared I'm going to get attacked. Delete the social medias of the episodes. Disappointing. You might hear my dog barking now. I should probably get going.
Yeah, so where can the listeners find you on social media?
So, you can find me on the Facebook at Reece Ord. Instagram. What is my Instagram? It is Reece.o_02. And my Twitter is at @Ord_Reece. It's, you may not remember, but I said this last time. It's a picture of me in a suit with my my tongue sticking out, and I'm still meaning to change it because it's not a flattering photo. Well, there are no flattering photos, but yeah, it'll probably be. Hopefully, it'll be changed by then. By the time this episode comes out, so you just go by the names.
And
Yeah.
Robert, where can they find you?
Robert E.G. Black on social media, or lemmingdrops.com for links to all my stuff.
Listen to find me on Twitter at llama_bottle0, Instagram at Ginger Luke, Facebook Luke Allen Film, all podcasts, radio appearances, newspaper articles, short films. Everything I'm remotely involved in is at lukeallen.co.uk. This show is on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 2 Mins About Time. They can join our Facebook group The Cupboard to discuss all things to do with About Time. We're also on IMDb at 2 Minutes About Time. That's one of the first times I've nailed that, probably because I've listened to that so many times.
I'll say you're getting faster.
I did a really fast one in an episode probably not too long ago, because I edited that pretty recently, where I didn't even know what I was saying, but it was very fast. Hello, it's Luke from editing here. I kind of realised that Katie never got to say her social media because her internet went and all of that, so here I'm now going to just insert audio from one of her episodes where she says her social media.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, both the same name. It's just my name, Katie Proctor, but the Katie has 2 eyes.
But,
I forgot what I was going to say now.
yeah. goodbyes.
With my one.
Oh yeah.
I was meant to say a minute ago. I don't post often on them. It's mainly just like the work and stuff that I might be doing in the future.
It's good because people take more notice
Hopefully.
when you do post, so it works.
Yeah, because I made it like not long before lockdown, like to put my work on, and then I'm like, hey, can't do any. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah, I feel like the weird thing about lockdown is because I hadn't made a film or finished a script that I was planning on finishing, I felt like I've been unproductive, and then I remember we've done 73 episodes of this show, so...
Yeah, and so you've been working
and
hard.
that I've become in contact with my all-time biggest influence in filmmaking, so...
Right.
It's probably...
It's been a
pretty good lockdown.
year-ish.
Yeah.
Good couple months for you.
So... The next question is goodbyes, because I didn't Google an interesting way to say goodbye.
Can I?
Yes.
I thought this might be a bit interesting, right? So why don't you say that, because it's going to be one of the last episodes, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you use the last line in the film, but by the end? And I did have a look at it, and it's kind of fitting. Hold on.
Yes, because we nearly did this, and then I replaced you in the previous episode, Robert. Because it's see you, isn't it?
It's bye-bye, see you later.
Bye-bye, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might be fitting since it's like the last...
We didn't... Because you started to do that in the previous episode, and I then cut you off and give Tim's big speech about all travelling through time together every day, which I kind of... The listeners will know, I doubled up on using our full theme tune in that episode. I use the full theme tune... Well, I start using the theme tune when I'm doing the narration, and then I use it again when you're giving your Groundhog Day project quote. But actually, your Groundhog Day project quote, I didn't realise how long it was, that the theme tune only comes in halfway through because it doesn't... You're twice the length of our theme tune. But it works, and it's still quite quiet, the theme tune. So like it's not distracting from your really good Groundhog Day project quote. I think that was... Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so Reece, you can repeat that line. You can finish off this Monday.
Yay!
No pressure, but you are going to finish off the penultimate episode.
Right, you ready?
That's not how penultimate works. Yeah.
All right. Count me in.
3, 2, 1. Can I just cut the episode here?
Yeah, just cut it.
Sorry.
Yeah, so when it's on like the visuals, you'll just see me about to say it and it cuts.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
my mouth opens. So, right,
and then we could have the theme tune and then you saying it at the end. After post credits. Right.
Right. How about we say it together?
All right. Remind me of the line.
It's bye bye. See you later. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and then we say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Skype could make this awful, but let's try. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See you later.
See you later.